Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a great day today. So what I want to talk about today is our expectations going into arbitration. So if the membership votes down no, our narcissistic chief negotiator, aka Brian Renfro, our union president, has to push our contract into an arbitration status, right? So that means we get an arbitrator, post office gets an arbitrator, then there's a neutral arbitrator, okay? So the expectations when we reach that point is that everything already agreed upon in the contract will stay, okay? So whatever our chief negotiator, our elected representative, has agreed with the Postal Service, the arbitrators may not go back to that. Okay, they may not waste the energy and effort on things that they agreed upon, right? So now you're gonna say, well, they agreed on the raise, right? They agrees on the financial parts of the tentative agreement. However, the financial aspects will be looked at, right? Because the arbitrators are going to assume, I want to say, that the reason that we are voting no is because we didn't get offered enough pay, right? So some things that probably will stay, okay, are going to be the chief things that are actually other talking points in this tentative agreement, which affects the letter carrier negatively. What are those? That's the change to our overtime desired list. Okay, so they're going to eliminate the 10-hour list. All right, so if you want to do overtime, you're either going to have to agree to be on a 12-hour list, or you're going to have to agree to be on a work assignment list. Okay, and then they're going to create a new list where you can agree to be on a non-scheduled day list. So you come on your day off, and you can come and be a 12-hour overtime list person. You can choose those two lists together, but you can't choose work assignment in any other one of those lists. If you choose work assignment, you have to be on work assignment. So the issues with this is going to be that carriers that are not on the overtime list, right? If everyone on the overtime list gets maxed out, the way the contract is written today, you can be forced to do 2 hours, okay? You could be forced up to 10 hours a day, okay? If everyone else gets maxed out. That's not saying if you have work restrictions. If you have work restrictions, they can't max you out. But with the change in the language that they're going to implement with getting rid of the 10-hour list, what it's going to say is that they can work us up to 11.5 hours with a 30-minute break, aka 12 hours. So that means that people not on the overtime list, if they're forced into overtime, now they could be forced into a 12-hour day. That's going to be highly controversial, okay? Because people that don't want to do overtime, they don't want to do overtime, okay? Them having to max everyone out first, I mean, in a perfect world, in my office, I know I'm not getting more than 2 hours overtime. I'm not going over the 10-hour list. I'm on the 10-hour list. There are days where I'm forced 12 hours, 11 and a half. Real rare these days. Quite frankly, they don't want us to get into penalty. The good thing about the new list is if you volunteer to go over 12 hours, you get paid 2.5 times your pay. However, don't forget, that is part of our language today. If you go over 12 hours a day or 60 hours a week, your union steward can grieve it, okay? But now it's not grievable because it's going to be automatic, okay? Once the system realizes that you worked over 12 hours or over 60 hours a week, it's going to compute that data and pay you accordingly, right? But the bigger issue with the change in the overtime list is going to be those carriers who choose not to be on the overtime list, all right? Are they still going to be able to be forced only 2 hours overtime, or are they now going to be forced 4 hours overtime because they're changing the language? Something like that, the arbitrator's probably just going to accept into the new contract, okay? I know it's not what we want. That's probably one of the reasons why we vote this contract down, but that's one of the scary parts about arbitration, right? Another thing that may remain in the tentative agreement through arbitration will be that reduced 13 minutes office time, right? So why is that important and why is it not? So from my understanding, the 13-minute overtime MOU is strictly if the United States Postal Service and the NALC agree to another joint route inspection. Okay, so that's if they do TREP or if they use the MDD scanner to evaluate routes in the future. Basically, taking off the 13 minutes off of our fixed time is going to allow them to input the data analytics into the scanner to compute our daily time, right? Why is that a big issue and why is it not? Well, it's a big issue because they're putting language in the contract, right? Once it's in the contract, it's binding between both parties. Why is it not too important is because before the two parties go into another route adjustment process, they're going to have to sign another MOU, and then they're going to agree, or Renfro, of course, would agree with certain times and standards like he did the first time, which he should not have. He should never agree to any loading time or any fixed office time. That was just a rookie mistake. So these times that they're trying to take away from us, I don't think it's going to affect us immediately. It will affect us in the near future if we move to a S&D center. I think that's where we're headed anyway, guys. If you're being 100% honest, we're going to go into a package delivery service in the upcoming years. So it's just going to be massive carriers in one location picking up packages every day. So we may not need that much office time anyway. That's neither here or there. I'm just talking about things that may stay in our contract even after we go to arbitration. All right. So some of the things that will probably be bargained for, right? This is why we're going to arbitration, right? The good question is, right, if Renfro negotiated this contract and he believed it's such good for the membership, how does he know what we don't want? How does he know what we don't agree with? How does he know what we want to fight for in arbitration? It's not like they're sending a piece of a survey around asking carriers, why did you vote down? Like, we can't even get our ballots, that's neither here or there. I digress. So some things that they may fight for, right? So this is what we should expect if we go to arbitration. Okay. These are the fighting points. Okay. 100% COLA, right? So, in between the steps, there's a difference in a percentage. Okay. So between step A and step B, between step B and step C, between step C and step D, there's about $1 raise that we get each year. Okay. Now, those are fixed costs, right? Those are based off of top pay today. So what happens is top pay increases every year with the cost of living increase and with the general wage increase, right? Now, we all get the general wage increase, right? If it's 1.3%, we will all get the 1.3%. But what we don't get is the full COLA. The COLA gets broken down based off a percentage, and I wouldn't say trickle down because someone said, made me open up my eyes, like nothing's trickled down, but it's a percentage of what they get at the top is what we get. And eventually, as we complete our steps and we reach the top, we get every piece of the COLA that we were supposed to get. We just don't get it in one shot. So with the arbitrator, one thing that they may be fighting for is that we get our 100% COLA as soon as it is released. Okay, so instead of getting 62% of $100, we'll get $100 of $100. The next thing that they're going to fight for is elimination of the CCA. All right, there's no reason that in 2024 we should have any city letter carrier starting at a lesser wage. If they eliminate the CCA and go straight to PTF, it allows carriers to start their career on day one. Okay, even though many of us were not fortunate to start that way, we have to think for the betterment of our craft and the betterment of the city letter carrier. I 100% agree that we should eliminate the CCA, start everyone as PTFs, and let's try to change the energy of this union. The next thing they're going to fight for is a uniform policy. Okay, uniforms have gone up 170% in the last 4 years, but our increase in what is allocated to us has only gone up 20%. All right, so when management complains that we're not in compliance with our uniform, the reason is we're not getting enough money, right? So now they need to come up with a program that gives us our uniforms on day one. And the last thing that may be fought in arbitration is interest on our back pay. Okay, guys, the post office has been holding our back pay for every day that this contract hasn't been negotiated, and that money has not been put into our TSP, which means that we've lost, if you want to C fund, you lost about 23% on every dollar that you could have invested this year. Guys, these are just quick talking points. I'm kind of rushing, as you can see, because I'm on my break. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'll be here. You'll be there. Peace.